Nothing shows a man's character more than what he laughs at. Goethe. When's the last time you laughed at yourself? Do you ever laugh at yourself? I learned a long time ago that if I didn't laugh at myself, I'd be missing out. I'm always doing stupid things. We all do, don't we? And every now and then I might even think of something funny. In fact, I kind of try to do that a little bit. Reminds me of that movie Arthur. Sometimes I just think funny things. But that's a profound quote by Goethe, isn't it? And I'm sure many of y'all already figured that out without ever hearing it. When someone laughs at a sick joke, you know something's wrong with that person. But that's an interesting quote, and it's an interesting thought. And I've been aware of it for quite some time, so I've been making some good use out of that quote. Well, that wind's blowing pretty strong. I hope I don't have to go diving after my camera. But it's coming at me, so it shouldn't be making any noise. But if you've never thought of that before, pay attention when you see people laughing. It might even be a fun experiment going with 4 different types of jokes and run it by people. See which ones they laugh at. Ah, you're the bigot. You're the racist. Be careful of those words. People who control us know that's the way to divide and conquer us more than anything. And remember, they own the media. They own the movie and the TVs and all the TV shows we're watching, the movies that are putting out. More importantly, they own the media, so they're brainwashing everyone, trying to get us to fight amongst ourselves. They're always doing that. And they know that's their most powerful weapon, racism. So when you hear someone laugh at a joke, what does that say? Shows their character. Just like the video I did prior to this, Wayne Dyer. Circumstances don't make a man, they reveal them. But they do make them also. That's what they reveal. Just like when someone laughs, it reveals their circumstances. Reminds me of one of my old softball buddies a long time ago. I never knew he was a racist. In fact, he's the only person I've ever met that actually showed me that side of anybody. I had no idea people would think like that, but you could tell where he got it. You could tell he was just spitting out the same crap his dad spit out. And probably the whole place. He was from a little small town out in West Texas. I was quite shocked when I found out he thought that way. It was very disturbing for me to actually know someone that could think that way at all. But that goes back to my previous video. Circumstances really do make us. And to say they reveal us, like, oh, look at you, you didn't turn out that way. That's not what happens with most of us. Most of us just repeat it. When you see someone being violent, you can almost guarantee you their life has been filled with violence. And I was thinking of this on the way out here, and I couldn't remember the guy's name, and I still can't remember it. It's Bill something. But anyway, he's a real jerk, bully on TV. Kicked him off a while back, I believe. But then I found out that he had a dad that was a cop. He used to beat him up every day. You can sure understand why he turned out to be the jerk he is. Not easy to overcome that type of brainwashing, that type of prejudice. And I've been a victim of prejudice myself. I'm old enough to have witnessed the prejudice between the North and the South here in America. It was really quite alarming to go through as a young child. So my dad was in the military, so we traveled a bit. Stayed in one place for about 4 years in my elementary years, 1st through 4th. But then we started traveling. Went from Texas to Iowa, to Louisiana, to California, to Iowa, to Texas. And every time I went from one place to the other, everyone hated me because I came from the other place. Oh, you're a damn Yankee, you're a rebel. Couldn't win. I go, wait a minute. But I was I witnessed firsthand that type of prejudice. Remember, I'm 63 years old, so when I was a little kid, 6 years old, that wasn't that far back, and it wasn't that long after the Civil War. And that hatred and that resentment still existed. But man, I'm telling you, in the 63 years I've lived, I've seen a huge improvement in us. The media is lying to us. There's none of this racial tension. I live in a melting pot of Houston. Whites aren't even in the majority here. There's pretty much equal amounts, close to it, of whites and blacks and Hispanics. Blacks not quite as high, but they're still up there pretty high. I don't see any of that where I'm around them all the time. And I don't see any conflict between any of us. This is all poppycock that the media portrays to get us riled up. You know, if you look at our history, we would have never had all these wars if there wasn't someone stirring the pot, benefiting from it, and that's what we have. According to Eustace Mullins, the Satanists who control the planet usurped the priesthood and educational systems 3,000 years ago. So when it comes to history, man, you got to just empty your cup, throw everything out. When you try to have a conversation with somebody, what do? They just throw back what was thrown into them. And they're totally unaware that you can't be trusted. And why? Because these Satanists want history to keep repeating itself. They don't want us to find out the truth. They want us to stir up hatred between each other, between the races, between the sexes, between the young and the old, between the religions, even within Christianity. Look at all the different branches. There's no unity amongst them either. We're extremely vulnerable, not just as young people, but as a species. As long as we're this sick and disconnected, we're going to have people taking advantage of us. And it's all based on the fact that there's something wrong with us. Something's wrong with us and we're sick. And that's what they do. They keep us there. They keep us from waking up to the reality that there's something we can do about all this. There's no reason why we can't live in peace and harmony. We live on an extremely abundant planet. And every time you turn around, there's more pages put into that book of illusion that you're totally unaware of. You watch Alex Jones, for example. There's this book of abundance that has a big section on the illusion of scarcity. And every time you watch Alex Jones's show, there's a little chapter in one of those books on the illusion of scarcity. He puts about 10 pages in that book every day. This is what's so frightening. When you think about an idea and a belief, where the idea could be a tabletop or the two covers of a book, and then the references for the table would be the legs and the pages in the book. The problem is, for us, is that we have these books that are really important, that are part of who we think we are and what we think is true. And we're not trying to put pages in those books, but these clowns are, and they're doing it every time we turn around. We're unaware that we're putting more references into this belief system to make us think a certain way so we won't wake up and realize we have a common enemy. And who is it? It's the worst of us. And they're a reflection of us, and they're very easy to defeat. All we got to do is change. Well, am I laughing at that? Am I proposing that it's impossible? No, I'm an optimist. That's why I can laugh at myself. I've got a good attitude. I've been happy all my life. I've been lucky. Can't think of a day I woke up happy. And we gotta learn to laugh at ourselves. Laughter is the most powerful medicine on this planet, my friends. It's the only thing that will make us feel better when things are really, really bad. It's the only thing that can. And if you're really facing some difficulties in your life right now, you have to understand the power of sadness versus laughter. It's been proven. Sadness, fear, depresses our immune system for up to 6 hours, significantly. And yet laughter can boost our immune system significantly for 24 hours or more. That's why whenever I coach somebody who has a really serious health challenge, like cancer, for example, I say, step number one, watch Dr. Lorraine's Day's very first tape she did. Cancer doesn't scare me anymore. Got to throw that fear out the window. Next thing is you got to start watching a bunch of things that make you laugh. You gotta use laughter as medicine when things are really down and out. The worse things are, the more you need to turn to something like laughter. And it's good medicine no matter what. So ask yourselves, when was the last time I laughed at myself? Do I ever laugh at myself? Am I an optimist or a pessimist? If you're not very optimistic, if you're not in a really good mood, if you take things too seriously, you might have a hard time laughing at your flaws. And if you do, you're a fool. Because we all got them. There's no one here who doesn't have flaws. And if you don't laugh at them, you're missing out. That's how I look at it. I get a chuckle out of myself every time I turn around. But that's partly because I'm a deep thinker. And people like myself may think 4 or 5 times more than the average person. And that means I have more stupid thoughts than you guys. But since I've got a pretty good foundation of knowledge, I can spot when something's bullshit right off the bat and throw it right on out and then get a good laugh out of it. So, be happy, my friends. And that's not easy to do in this existence that we're on or living at this time. This planet's in bad shape. Real easy to just give up and say, what the hell, I'll go out to some island somewhere and forget about everything and I'll just try to make the best out of life as I can. But you can't do that. I've said it before. There's no escaping Plato's cave. No man is an island. The individual cannot escape the collective. As long as the vast majority of us are suffering on this planet, we're all going to suffer, whether or not your biophoton levels are up high enough where you can actually feel it. Doesn't matter. It's not good. It's a lot of negative energy. And right now I'm thinking about all the noise there is in a big city. Boy, that noise pollution is one of the things I can't stand the most. And on the way over here, it's just like, my gosh. And all I hear now is the wind blowing and the sound of the leaves rustling. And I'm really sharing this right now because well, I'm not going to go into that. Be happy, friends. Find purpose in your life. That's what brings me happiness. And when you can do that, when you can join the hero's journey, when you can go out there and help other people who are suffering, your life becomes meaningful. It puts more joy in your life. Because we got to balance out the hell we live in with some laughter. But we don't want to do it and be in denial about everything. That's the key. When you can finally figure out how to laugh at things that are really silly and funny, as opposed to laughing at the truth, this whole planet will be in for a treat.